Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos, a film lost to history, an important documentary about a moment in queer women's history. The infamous incident in which a bunch of rowdy British women and their resident stripper scandalized the islanders of Lesbos with whom they share the title Lesbian.
No, I'm not fine.
I talked a little bit about this in a previous video about the 2008 court case, where essentially a bunch of right-wing weirdos decided to take action against a Greek gay rights group for using the word lesbian because it was apparently stealing the identity of the island of Lesbos. While researching that video, I found an article which mentions the whole Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos incident, talks about it as a big scandal, a notable setback in developing a positive relationship between the islanders of Lesbos and the hordes of queer women who vacation there every year. And then besides that article, nothing. Nothing. There's a brief description of the film on the World of Wonder website, and other than that, gone. Gone from the internet, fated to be forgotten. Well, I called on you. And you answered. But before we go any further, I've got to tell you a little bit about this video sponsor, Blueland. If you're interested in supporting more sustainable brands, Blueland is a really great option. Traditional home cleaners are of course sold in single-use plastic bottles, whereas Blueland provides you with a high-quality glass Forever bottle and affordable refill tablets for all of your cleaning product needs. First, you fill your Forever bottle with warm to hot water. Just drop one of the tablets into the water and it'll be ready to use in minutes, no shaking or stirring needed. Blueland sent me their hand soap with assorted botanical flavors. No, not flavors, do not eat. Botanical fragrances. Blueland uses no single-use plastics in any component, from bottles to tablet wrappers to shipping materials. Everything is made with clean ingredients and contains no ammonia, chlorine, bleach, or parabens. All of Blueland's products are cradle-to-cradle certified, meaning that they are designed to be recycled or returned to the earth in a natural way. And of course, they are vegan and cruelty-free. Once you have your Forever bottle, the refill tablets are only $2 each, which is like really good. Honestly, what is not to love about Blueland? Their products are sustainable, they're affordable, they're effective, and they're extremely convenient too. So make sure that you use my link in the description below to get 20% off your first kit. It's a limited time only, so make sure you don't miss it. And now, back to your regularly scheduled content. I had a few people notify me that the British Film Institute lists it as being in their collection and free to view anytime on site at their headquarters in London. So, fun day trip for you if you're located in or near London, I guess, but I'm very much not, so that one wasn't gonna work out for me. I continued to wait, and to be honest, my hopes were not high. But lo and behold, someone showed up in my Patreon Discord server one day with a very interesting story. First, they had found this archive file listing Lesbians Go Mad as Lesbos being in the possession of the San Francisco Public Library, which is also not a location that I can easily get to, but they could get to it. And then when they got there, no one could find it, which understandable that this film was no one's priority until now. Apparently the official LGBTQ archivist had to come out and help them search the warehouse, and they found it. They found an old damaged VHS copy of Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos. They digitized it for me and even attempt to restore it to a more watchable quality. So much effort. So much effort for something so bad. Thank you so much for bringing this to us. I wanted everyone to know how much effort went into bringing this to us. Honorable mention as well to the person who then, immediately after that happened, slid into my business email like, found Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos, with an archive.org link to the version uploaded to archive.org by the person who had found it and digitized it for me from the San Francisco Library. That archive.org link, by the way, will be in the description down below if you feel like watching it yourself. However, there's a catch. The VHS was extremely damaged, and while the person who found it for me tried to restore it to a watchable quality, the result is imperfect. It's black and white, it's grainy, it's glitchy, it often cuts off in the middle of a scene because the rest was unrecoverable. So I guess I still don't know what the experience of watching this film was supposed to be. But this, my friends, is Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos, and is not the majority of Sappho's remaining writing in fragments. It can be tempting, I think, to wish that it were complete, but the fragmentation allows for a whole different experience to happen, one which may not entirely be true to the original intention, but which might ultimately have the ability to say more about us in the ways we find ourselves filling those gaps eroded by time. So what is this thing even about? I'll tell ya. So there's this Lesbos-based business called Sappho Travel, which is, you guessed it, a travel agency catering to queer women who want to come to Lesbos. Sappho Travel is working with a London-based club called Candy Bar to put together a package holiday for the women who frequent Candy Bar. The organizers of Candy Bar put together a little flyer to promote the event, something they think is a little quirky, a little funny, a little haha.
A breaststroke race, I thought. Wet t-shirt competition.
Oh, right, yeah.
Wet pussy pool party. I don't know, it just came to me in a wave of inspiration. Yeah.
This wave of inspiration did not wash so well in Lesbos. The flyer was translated literally for the town mayor, for whom the idea of encouraging women's pussies to be wet seemed to cause the most offence.
If a woman jumps in a swimming pool, it gets wet. How are you going to keep it dry?
Waterproof. We want women that they have waterproof pussies.
It becomes a whole media storm nationally in Greece. Everyone is talking about essentially some of the stuff that I addressed in my last video about the court case over the use of the word lesbian, just talking about the huge presence of queer women on Lesbos because it's Lesbos, lesbians, haha, Sappho, whatever. And essentially whether that huge presence of queer women on Lesbos is being done in a way that is right and respectful to the islanders. But the reason why you see so much of this going on—
No, I'm not fine.
—is because of the fear among the organizers that this instance of a kind of rude flyer, when read out of context or by someone who's not used to hearing that kind of language, how this could be used to spark further homophobia in Greece and to be used as evidence that gay people bad. This is something that the women who live and work on Lesbos seem very stressed is a possibility. One woman from Sappho Travel and this lesbian bar owner as well are just— they're just that everything is fine.
No, I'm not fine.
Like dog on fire meme this entire time.
I thought it was funny. The next thing we know, we're involved in this issue.
It's a very big news. Yes, big news.
From what I understand from that article, the mayor has said he doesn't like the way this has been advertised and nobody has the right to do this, blah, blah, blah. There's now an argument about homosexual women. The newspaper is saying, why argue now? It's been going on for some time and we all know that.
Orgy all week long, completely exaggerated it all, completely made the fucking mayor really paranoid. Basically, the mayor of the village has turned around and put injunctions on the nightclub, on Sappho Travel. The mayor's problem seems to be lesbians in the village, full stop. This has got bigger and more high profile than possibly even the mayor.
They're just making a drama out of it because they don't like it. It's a hot issue in terms of international media. It's a human rights issue.
The travel agency owners end up going to court with the mayor of Lesbos to come to some kind of agreement, and they end up deciding that the package holiday will be allowed to go ahead so long as it has a sort of family-friendly rebranding, all of the events are renamed, that kind of thing.
I'm writing up the renewed schedule because we've been kind of thrown all over the place in terms of what we were going to be able to do, or what we were planning to do prior to all the drama. We basically had to kind of redo the schedule. So I'm just typing out a kind of itinerary for all the girls, which, it's just ridiculous. I'm so scared now, you know what I mean? It's just like, I can't call a wet pussy pool party, a wet pussy pool party, what can I call it?
26 British lesbians embark on their package holiday. Before they even arrive, there was already this whole media shitstorm around them. There's news following their every move.
All we are is a group of 26 women coming on holiday together to have a nice holiday. What we do is we just love women. We love that.
In the article that mentioned this film, the one that I read for my last video, there was an interview with a lesbian bar owner on Lesbos who was talking about how she was disgusted by the visiting lesbians, how the thing that especially got to her was that they brought their own stripper, and of course that stuck out to me because it was one of the only comments about the details of the documentary that I could even find online. So I was really waiting. I was waiting for to find out what was going on with this stripper, and so let me tell you about the stripper.
What time are you performing?
All night long, darling.
Oh, wicked. You mean you can go all night long?
I can go all night long and longer.
And longer?
Longer.
So the story goes.
Right, I'll be there at 10 or 11.
Wipe your brow, darling. It's gonna be hot.
I'll be there at 11 then.
I love her, princess.
Her name is Shauna. She's sort of the accidental protagonist, but that's probably because she's the one who's like the most outgoing, the most willing to talk to the cameras. She's there with her girlfriend, who is the DJ of the events, #girlbosscouple. They really exemplify the mentality that the candy bar lesbians are coming into this whole thing with.
That's the one you want to put out. We have nothing but love. Big love. Big love.
We're not here to piss anybody off. We're here as a group to have a good time, and whoever wants to join us, whether the lesbians can accept having a good time, is only having a good time and nothing more than that. We're not going to upset anybody. The only thing that's going to upset somebody is that. I know. Okay, but that's all good, darling. We're fine. It's pool life, pool party time.
People don't like change, and people are possibly concerned that You know, we're trying to turn Scalerosos into something that they're not used to, not happy with, or don't want, but it's not true. All we're doing is coming here for 1 week of the year and offering alternative and, other kinds of entertainment. We've pissed off Greek people and pissed off lesbians, now we're going to piss off the hotel people, so might as well, eh?
And by the year 2010, we'll have the whole island.
There's a lot of pressure being put on them to keep things tame. I mean, there's a very real concrete threat of the mayor of Lesbos shutting down the event or the venues they had planned to use. And then there's the Greek media fishing for scandalous material that will spark homophobia. They're in this really precarious place where they accidentally have to represent upstanding gay people in a country where gay rights have not progressed quite as far as they have in their home country, and absolutely none of them want that weight on their shoulders. In fact, they don't even want to acknowledge that weight on their shoulders. They do not tone it down. After one particularly wild party, they end up having to deal with threats to shut them down, pissed off locals, the mayor, etc., all over again. And their only comment throughout the entire thing is, we just want to party. What's wrong with having a good time and expressing yourself? We just want to party.
It's got very loud, really. Hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're disappointed because that's not what the idea was. Yes, these women have come to party, but actually the Women's Week for us was never about just partying. It was also about seeing other places, about doing different things, about enjoying traditional Greek evenings. And what we've got now is we've got a group of women who are party.
Do they act like spoiled children who have never been told no before? Yes. But also, did these women sign up to be the perfect poster children for all gay people? No. That's unfair too. These women are stupid. They're very, very stupid. But you know what? That's their personal life choice. Whatever. But when the potential state of gay rights in your country is being affected by this,
No, I'm not fine.
Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos is a psychological thriller at times.
But for sure I would like to change some things here before I make definitely my decision to be here. Because it's nice to live in a place that you can feel free also.
I think this leaflet was just a red ball to a rag. A red rag to a bull, even. I mean, it was just the catalyst to set off a whole chain of events that were in motion already, and I think that's what we really have to worry about.
This was the thing, that it showed us the homophobia that there is around this place.
We all have to make some serious decisions about how we progress and carry on bringing people here.
Thankfully, throughout their stay, the news about them isn't all bad. There are some positive takes as well, and their relationships with the locals is also a mixed bag. Some who are interviewed are real mad, and others just kind of laugh it off.
I am the owner of this bar and the hotel mascot. And the most of the clients in the summertime are the girls, about 80%. They don't bother us, we don't bother them. We are a very small society, but the girls, they are plenty. More than enough, but they are welcome.
It's not good for me, a playboy like me. Nothing for me in this town.
They host a lesbian Olympics, which is deeply weird.
Beautiful!
The rest of the week's events are pretty much just various parties, pool and otherwise. That's what it's about. A handful of women partying and hooking up in this often messy, zero production value, pre-L word window into what lesbian identity and community was kind of like in the late 90s and early 2000s. The film is very aware that the candy bar lesbians are a type, and not a type that everyone is comfortable fitting in with.
It was disgusting. So I'm boycotting tonight, the party. What got me more upset, I was talking to the go-go dancer, and she said, well, you know what? I'm getting paid for that. I do that. And I said, like, oh my God. If it's so easy to buy a dyke, well then. I won't be the one who says life cannot be one big party. It's not that.
Okay, life is one big party.
It is what you want.
Women and fun, I say. Go together. So it's actually quite refreshing. She's actually having a conversation with me today. Not that I want a conversation. So I just want to get her in.
I wanted something deeper, and I was not in the mood to get into this candy girl wall, to swim into it. So
I think if I met some of these people, you know, one by one, whatever, it would be a different thing.
They're entrenched in club culture, hookup culture, partying, who's getting with who. Very dumb and shallow, perfect for reality TV. But the candy bar lesbians do really, like, genuinely and passionately defend their right to be on their bullshit. Probably because they're so drunk. But there's one argument that I find especially interesting.
That are just putting a bit more of a smile and a bit more fun and sexiness into it. You know, I don't like the dowdy old stereotypes, just the stereotypes.
What is she talking about when she's talking about the old stereotype, rebelling against the old stereotype? Well, I think I know. The lesbian stereotype that arose around the 1970s was very much flannel and combat boot wearing, mean, man-hating, vegan, with braided armpit hair type of lesbian. And there is a huge reaction against that from the younger generations in the 80s and 90s. This is when we see the lipstick lesbian kind of stereotype or identity emerge. But overall, I don't think that the movement away from the old stereotype was about becoming more feminine. It wasn't. It was about, if anything, becoming sexier, sluttier, more sluttier and unashamed about it, more sex positive. Because the type of lesbian feminists who really set the stereotypes they tended to be the type who thought that all porn was bad, any sort of power dynamic in sexual relationships, even between women, was replicating patriarchy and therefore bad. They were in favor of a lesbian sexuality that was very soft and feminine and innocent, and that simply did not work out for a lot of people. The younger generation of queer women grew up and said, no, we're gonna be sluts, mom. Not really. Which is to say, that's pretty much what happened. They called it the sex wars. It was like a whole thing. Everyone was real mad. Wacky time to be alive, I'm sure. So this huge push is going on in the 90s for lesbians to move away from the old stereotype, to dress sexy without any concern for whether it was feminist to do so, to be promiscuous without shame, to drink heavily, to have wet t-shirt contests and wave their sex toys around, to be pretty much what you see going on in this film. The women here are very much operating with a familiar 90s, early 2000s ideal of what people thought lesbians should be. One of the women confesses at the beginning of the film in this weird mirror shot that she's not even really into hookup culture. And then for the rest of the film, she's right up in the drama participating in that with everyone else. The thing that really strikes me is that none of these women have the vibe of being like effortless chads. Like they're so dweeby and so human at times. There's just so many of these like weird little awkward moments of humanity where they do not coolly fit into this mold the way that you would expect a TV character to. And yes, I include reality TV there because we know that stuff's not real. I don't know, I just find that it really allows you to see the ideals of the time as something separate, something that is weirdly hanging over them just as much as it is a part of them. And I assume these moments must make it into the film because it's so clear their budget is like one shoelace and a paperclip. Like they have no plan. They have no idea what they're doing. And the result is that these women get to be authentically themselves without a production team imposing narratives or imposing drama. Of course they have drama, but for 2000s reality TV, it's really not bad. There's no huge fights. There's nothing that feels scripted or even planned at all. It's just like one person pointing a camcorder at them as they live their lives. We see these lesbians going mad on Lesbos, treating other women like items on a hookup list or objects to ogle, and we ask, are these women simply privileged to live in a decade where they don't have to be as political and militant as their predecessors, regurgitating mainstream misogynistic ideas uncritically? Or is there something of an authentic lesbian experience here? It's always going to be both. But in this case, I was honestly really shocked at how lesbian it felt. It embodies the problematic ideas of the time, obviously. But that aside, the film itself feels devoid of any imposing male gaze. It feels like a weirdly authentic window into what it was like to be a lesbian at the time. I keep thinking about this scene of Shauna showing off her body to the Greek news cameras. We see her, and we see the men's cameras watching her, and it's just such a literal image, and it feels to me like we're in on the joke. She's messing with them, and she's comfortable doing that because they don't actually have the power to define her or her sexuality or her queerness. She gets to run off into the distance with her girlfriend at the end of the film. No matter how much she shows off her body for shock value to a straight audience, it's her body, it's her experience of queerness. Anyway, this film is stupid and probably nobody should read into it ever, But we found it. I mean, I didn't really do anything besides utilize my platform for questionable ends, as usual. Lesbians Go Mad on Lesbos, although fragmentary now, has been recovered. Link in the description if you want to watch it. I thought I would share my thoughts. If you have some interesting thoughts, or some thoughts on my thoughts, leave me a comment in the description down below. I think I'm a little bit delirious. If you want to support my channel and get access to weekly Discord hangouts, you can support my Patreon, link in the description below, for only $2 a month. Yeah, okay, that's it. That's all I had to say. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends. I will see you in another one very soon.
Bye, Lesbos. See you next year. Get ready, you honeys. Oh, my crotch.
Want a real dance music? It's hot in here.